This message is for someone at a perpendicular point in their life. Your journey has come to this point where it's really difficult to see what's right in front of you. The reason for this is because I see you coming to like this crossroads. It's very Hekate energy. And so there's this decision that you need to make. And it's really difficult to make this decision because it seems so extreme in either direction. Like you either do one and be authentic to yourself, or you don't and you do this other, but then it's a complete disrespect to yourself. This is a really hard energy to be in because it doesn't feel like there's a way to compromise. Um, and I'm being told you can't compromise on this big decision. You kind of need to get out of the energy of whatever you've been in, and so that's why this crossroads moment is coming up for you. It's really difficult to work through, but you have to allow the process to happen. You have to allow the other things to fall away. You have to turn away from the path untaken. I hear that you keep turning towards a path you didn't take. And every time that you do that, it ties your energy into that path and it like sends it along. Like I see a cobblestone path like lighting up. And the problem is that with your energy scattered like that, you can't build your new cobblestone because it's like fleshing out cobblestone in this other direction, right? And so it's this really interesting energy because you feel illuminated either way. You feel like you can see in the darkness either way. So you don't see that it's a problem because you can see. But I'm being told you can't always trust what you see. So you have to understand that there's something about this that is remaining hidden. Even though you're able to illuminate your pathway and the pathways of others, there's something about this path that is hidden. Even if you light it, you can't see it. You won't be able to. So you have to trust that the darkness is where you're headed, but you'll have a light and you'll be just fine. But if you keep trying to light the darkness behind you, it's only going to cause nightmares. That's what I'm hearing. I feel like you might be going through a rebirth process. I feel like you might be resonating with a collective in a way that's unusual for you. Like maybe you were normally in like this one group of collectives and then you're just finding those videos don't resonate anymore. And you're thinking, what am I doing here? What's going on? This is the person that always resonates for me. This is the person that always does it for me. Yeah, because you're kind of shifting timelines here. This is something that's common for this collective in particular, but it's hard to understand and it's hard to get used to because you really like being in your own way collective. Is what I'm being told. Um, you have this knack for getting in your own way because you're so good at getting out of the way for others. You'll like put yourself in your own way. You don't consider your own needs nearly enough, is what I'm being told. And there's this harsh desire within you to please others. Even when you think you're not doing it, it's a very strong desire and it's really difficult to break this desire. So what you have to do is go towards the path untaken, like to your left, not the one to your right. So I feel like symbolically you're going towards a path that people don't expect. You don't expect. This is that like true path for you. This is the one you need to be going down. Stop looking at the other path that you didn't take because the fact is you didn't take it in this lifetime. Maybe there's other lifetimes you took it. Maybe there's other timelines you took it, but you didn't in this one. And if you really want to stay on your highest timeline, you have to be ready to let that go. There's going to be a lot of paths you don't take. And then sometimes what's going to happen is kind of like the flower of life. Like I always channel for when I channel for this collective, I like to have this. Um, all of these are connected. So like don't stress about one of the paths not exactly leading where you want it to lead because over time you're going to end up exactly where you want to go. Like there's a ton of paths to get to the center of this, right? Like you can do 100 different things and get there. Some will just take longer than others, but you'll also kind of get to explore the different energies, the different circle energies in here, right? So it's not always the straight way to the center that's the best. Like you can look here, there's like three little circles that get to the center, but like that's not really living the experience of this flower of life, right? Like to really experience it, you kind of need to go along all these different journeys, right? At least a few of them. Um, Otherwise, when you were to get to this, if you were to get to the center, it would just be like a dot. Like, look at that straight line and just be a dot at the center. And how boring is that? But because there's all these layers, because there's all this complexity to your journey, you're being given guideposts that are different from other people's, and you're being rewarded for your efforts. but you get frustrated with yourself and you think you've been meandering for no reason. But that's totally false. You've been meandering for exactly the right reason. You've been building, you've been constructing. A spider web is not a straight line, right? You've been building a spider web. You've been building this web of connection that guides you to other people, that leads you to where you want to be. And the problem is, collective, is that you're doubting yourself. You're so critical of yourself and you're so eager to appease other people. Excuse me. You would throw your life away if it would just like make others happy. Deep down inside. Like, if the whole world hated you, I don't think you could live with yourself. But the fact is that the whole world isn't going to hate you. The world is going to love you for what you're doing. You just have to focus on the right aspects of the world. I feel like you're almost trying to cater to people that won't like you. No matter what you do, you'll never get their approval. And so somehow it feels like their approval is worth getting sometimes because it's so hard to get. You're like, oh, this will be an achievement. But truly, collective, the achievement is being yourself and then people just loving you for that. That's the real flex. It's not working so hard to convince someone. I'm being given like a really specific analogy here. It's kind of like, my nose is really itchy. That's weird. I wonder if I am like tapping into someone's situation. Sorry if I am, but here we go. So it's kind of like, if you've been with your partner and you've been with your partner 7 years and you're still not married, like neither one of you has asked the other person, what are you doing, collective? What are you waiting for? And you want to get married, right? You want to be married. You want to be in a stable, committed, loving relationship. And for you, that's marriage, hypothetically speaking, or at least some sort of domestic partnership or union. This other person, though, like, quote unquote, like doesn't believe in labels or something. This can be masculine or feminine. They're just like, they don't know why you want this thing and they don't want it. So they've been happy this whole time because they're getting exactly what they want. They didn't want that level of commitment and they're not getting it. So they're happy, but you have been denied it. And so there's this feeling of like, stop wasting your time where it isn't appreciated. Stop wasting your time where it makes other people happy and makes you miserable. This is, spirit is like going for the throat. There's something in your life you've put a ton of effort into, and spirit is literally saying it's useless. Like, stop it, drop it right now. And then there are some of you in this collective that were like trying to quit this habit, and then you haven't, but you keep going back to it. Stop it. Stop. Your cobblestone path needs to be illuminated in the correct direction. And every time you pave a pathway in the wrong direction, it derails you. And it's not taking you on this cool circular journey. It's just like, imagine it's just back tracing over the same loop. And you can go over the same loop as many times as you want, but it's not actually going to give you progress, right? So like, something in your energy is like doing, I'm going to say, yeah, here. It's doing this. It's like you can't quite make your mind up. And so this rut is just getting like deeper and deeper. And it's getting harder and harder to get out of it because you just keep walking back and forth over the same place. Like, oh, should I go here? Oh, but I should go. Oh, but I should go. Right. That's sort of the vibe spirit is giving me. As your goal is here. But then like, even being here, your goal then is to kind of do this, or it's to like do this, right? Like to go this other circle. Like, you have these interesting things waiting for you. And when you just keep doing this, it's like, it's a waste of time. You have so much potential. And I hate that phrase. So the fact that that is the phrase coming through for you guys means it's in a really positive way. You can change the world. You can do it. But you're kind of getting a tough love lesson right now from spirit. And I just had to make sure this was on. And the thing Spirit wants you to know is that you're so loved and supported. And the only reason it's kicking your butt right now is to get you to learn a lesson. Because as soon as you let go of this grip that you have on like this false reality and this bad, dark path, your life is going to get so much better. And you're going to think, why didn't I do it sooner? It's so easy. Yeah. The reason you didn't do it sooner was because something within you needed to learn that lesson really deeply. Really deeply. Something within you wanted to etch that lesson into your soul, like tattoo it on you. And that's okay. That is how some people learn lessons, and not even all lessons, but just some particular lessons. Like, people basically want it to hurt. People get a little masochistic about their spiritual lessons sometimes, and they really deeply want it to hurt. And when people get in that mindset of like wanting the pain, of wanting it to hurt them, when they stay in these situations that aren't enjoyable, it's because they're getting pleasure somewhere from it. It's either pleasure like, oh, I'm so tough, I'm getting through this, oh, look at me, I'm so resilient, or it's pleasure like, yeah, that's right, like, I don't deserve anything, I'm worthless, I'm useless, like, yeah, I'm good for nothing, like, I should just stay here. And then they feel satisfaction, like a weird satisfaction at being proven correct. um or they get like pleasure from watching other people be able to be successful. Like, you know what? Good for them. I'm glad I can be the sacrificial lamb, the martyr, the sacrificial lamb. You're so done being the sacrificial lamb. Like, that has been your role for so long. And we all go through these journeys, right? We all go through these different roles. Like, there's so many different roles we go through. We're like, oh my god, I'm a victim. And you go, oh my god, I'm a martyr. Oh wait, oh my god, am I a villain? No wait, oh my god, I'm a hero. And like, we go through these different archetypes collective, and like, you can't get stuck on any one archetype, because even the villain eventually becomes the hero if they live long enough, right? It's actually the reverse of that whole, you live long enough to be the hero, you see yourself become the villain or something like that. um it's the same in the reverse. Like, if you are a villain long enough, you'll eventually become the hero, because a lot of the times the villains are rebelling against systems and places that they don't make sense anymore. Like, villain is not necessarily, I don't know why big pharma is coming through, but a villain is not just like a big corporation. A villain can be someone who is portrayed in the media like, kind of like Luigi, but like, he's not a villain, but he's being portrayed that way, but he's no one believes it, right? No one who actually pays attention to what's happening believes that. Everyone sees him as a hero, right? So there's this like dichotomy that happens, in a shift or a switch. Like, you can be portrayed as the victim and actually be the perpetrator. You can be portrayed as a narcissist but actually have been a people pleaser. Like, so you have to, there's something in this collective about like purging names. You're purging roles. You're purging aspects of your personality that don't suit you anymore. I'm being called to channel really specifically for this collective because there are so many people that need so many specific things addressed in their life. And um there's often like colors that come through for it. And I'm shifting a little bit, once again, the way that I'm doing these channelings to see if it's helpful for people. The purple is the color that comes through a lot for this collective. It's very mystical. It's very woo woo, 5 dimensional, like 5D, instant manifestors, right? Master manipulators of time, space, and energy. But because of this, and this is the catch, magicians like that manipulate themselves, and then they can fabricate things and lose themselves in these strands of reality that don't really exist. Because the cool thing about you is you are able to take these intangible thoughts and like patterns and exercises, and like, you're actually able to do things with them. Like, you can build a bridge over open air and it will stand, but you can also build a statue to nothing. Okay. So sometimes like, you build this monument to your past that like doesn't exist anymore. Your past is gone. You've learned the lessons, you've alchemized. Like, some of you are staying too long in victim mode, is what I'm hearing. And like, the main problem with staying too long in victim mode is like, when you believe you're a victim, you cast other people as the villains in your story. And like, that's hurtful and damaging sometimes to your own progress and theirs. Like, you don't allow their roles to shift. Um, like, it's kind of this like pendulum where people swing from like, they were truly like in this sort of victim mindset and being treated a certain way. Then they get empowered, and then they're like, yeah, I'm empowered and I'm still a victim and they're still villains. And it's like, the point of empowerment is eventually to alchemize actually to a state of, neither one of us are victims or villains. We are people teaching each other a lesson. And obviously, I know there's really terrible things that happen to people. I'm not trying to like get into the weeds of all that, but in general, when you reach that point of peace, no one can cast you as a victim or villain in their story either, because people often put roles on you when they don't like what you're doing. People will put roles on you, collective, and I think you've experienced this before. um and they'll try and get you to agree to play the game of wearing the role, play the game of wearing the mask. And you're kind of in this point in your life where like, I'm done with the mask, I'm done wearing the like the clothes and the pageantry and the hair and all this stuff. And like, I'm done, constantly going to therapy and like journaling the same over and over. It doesn't work. It's like, at a certain point you just get it. And when you get it, you get it and you're just done. For some people that takes longer than others. And you kind of can't really convince anyone to come along that ride with you. You have to just do it yourself. And you can meet other people like on the way there that are also on that journey. But It's almost like you're going up this mountain and you're not going to be able to convince people at the bottom of that mountain to climb up to the top of the mountain with you if they're not even willing to set foot on the trail, right? Um, this is a very meandering message, by the way. It's like all over the place. Hope this is making sense. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of getting that sometimes collective, you drag people from like off the trail onto your trail and try to convince them to like go up this mountain with you because you've like found this new paradise and you want to introduce people to it, but like you can't. That's the shitty thing. You can't really introduce people to your paradise because everyone has their own version of it. And some people will be willing to buy your version of paradise, right? But not everyone. And you have to be willing to accept that like the people that want to buy your version of paradise are going to manifest it eventually anyway. And so it's like very effortless for them to buy into your fantasy, into your version of reality because they have a similar one in their mind already. Or they have like the seed, the potential of it. People that are going to manifest something very differently will like never resonate with you. Even if your idea totally makes sense, they'll never get it and they'll never go up with you. So there's this big overarching message of like conserving your energy. You cannot convince anyone to climb the mountain with you who's not climbing it already. Remember that. um, you also need to be responsible with guilt. Is what I'm hearing. Like sometimes people like put guilt on you, and it is not your guilt to hold. And it's like people are offloading this onto you so you don't have to worry about it. Or sorry, so you don't have to how do I put this? They put it on you so that they don't have to worry about it. Um, so it's kind of like they're outsourcing the responsibility of dealing with their emotional labor. Does that make sense? It's like this really abstract thing. But if no part of you resonates with guilt, you can't assume guilt that others give to you. You're not going to feel guilty because it's actually not in your code. It's not in your frequency. No one can activate something within you that like isn't there already. And that's really brutal to say, but you can't like how do I put this? You can't really make a wolf out of a bunny. So when people go through certain experiences and then they say, it's the experience that made me this way. Like the fact is that 10 people can go through the same experience and they all turn out completely differently. I was just talking to a client earlier today and it's really interesting because he has also a background in religious programming, like deeply Christian, um, the more Latino Christian kind of stuff is what he was dealing with. But he was feeling like 1 second. Sorry, I thought that would pause. I'll see if I can like splice this together. Hopefully when you're seeing this, it's all spliced together. Um, but yeah, anyway, this person was just like basically we shared a similar background experience and then we both turned out differently because of it. It's really funny. And yes, it is divine masculine versus divine feminine, if you will, but um yeah, people respond to trauma in crazy different ways. So like and if you have like an abuser of some kind, some people become very vicious because of it. Other people can experience the same type of abuse and then they become very submissive and docile like a bunny because of it. But so you can see it's not actually like the that like does that. It brings out what's already there. It's horrible. But it just that's kind of what it does in most cases. And that's not to like judge or shame anybody cuz like frankly, if if you haven't had trauma you probably haven't found spirituality because most people don't seek spirituality if they're happy. You really need trauma and like deeply upsetting life occurrences to search for meaning for most people, like deep meaning. Um, like if you're watching this video, you've had some stuff happen, right? So whatever that brought out within you was stuff that was like from your generational lineage, right? Like these are habits and behaviors and patterns that people in your family line have done for generations. That's just in you. Um, it's also a matter of like what you saw happening at home, like what was okay to do, what wasn't okay to do. It's like what you saw in the media. What does your environment tell you, like other kids and other places you went? There's like so many different things. But yeah, people love to say they're a certain way because of something. And the fact is like when you reach a certain point in your spiritual journey, you realize it's not actually because of that thing. That thing was an activating event that brought it out of you for you to deal with. But everyone is forced to deal with like whatever is within them. And it's all going to be brought out and like painfully so in some cases. And there's nothing superior about having like Oh, I'm a people pleaser instead of a narcissist. Oh, I'm a victim instead of a villain. It's like pretty much almost everyone believes deep down they're a victim. It doesn't matter how they're acting. They can all, even a narcissist, what someone would label as a narcissist, can point to an event and be like, that's what did it. Like that's what caused me to be this way. And it's like, why is it though then that your sister turned out completely different? Like or your brother turned out completely different. Um it's because, like, as upsetting as it is, it's just like that's a response within you that probably would have remained dormant and you probably could have been normal. But then that thing happened and that brought it out of you. Um, Trauma really brings out like our deepest, darkest shadow. So great activator, but like horrific. Human experience, 0 out of 10. Spiritual experience, often a 10 out of 10. Terrible. Um, Excuse me. Let's see what else we got here collecting. I do see like a large spider. I don't know if someone's like weaving a web for you. It's like a message in the sand. It says like send DM is literally what's written in this spider web. So I don't know if that is significant. Send DM. Maybe some of you guys have to like message someone back, or there's like something in your email or your inbox is waiting to be attended to. I feel like it's something pleasant, weirdly enough. It's a very strange energy. Send DM. But I don't really see the spider. Like after it's made, like the spider's just kind of waiting. I don't know. Do with that message what you will. I also see something about pancakes here. I'm not sure if you're making them or if you're feeling like you're going to make them. But that's resonating on some level with this collective. Peanut butter scotch. I don't even know if that exists. Bumblebees, dandelions, fruit trees, guava, insects, storms, paraphernalia, blueprint, deities, Aphrodite, llamas, yogurt, some names: Gregory, Dylan, Michael, Ashwa. Not sure if I'm saying that right. Zadel, Fariqua. That's it. I'm sorry if I'm like totally butchering that one. Licentia, Licentia. Okay, maybe some of those phrases or words will have meaning for you. Maybe licentious. Maybe that's what it was. Licentious. Yeah. Let's see what else. There's like a feeling of doing something discreetly, something you have been working on and tapping into it being like discreetly done, and you are very excited about it. It's resonating a lot with you. Um, it's going to be unveiled very soon. Whatever it is that you're working on, it's going to come out very soon, and you're going to be really happy about it. Um, there's a lot of people waiting for you to do this thing, and you're excited to show it to them. But there is a hang up happening. It's with your ego. There's something in your ego that's saying, slow down, it's not enough. And your ego is trying really hard to push this back because if your ego can stall, it hopes that you forget about this project. And it really doesn't want this project to be seen because this project could villainize you. So this is very important for you. You need to be okay with being seen as a villain. You need to be okay with someone stealing your work. You need to be okay with someone taking advantage of you. Because when you realize you have your own power and you don't give it away, none of that can actually happen. Even if people try to do it, it can't happen. Because when you have boundaries in place and when you have control over your own power and know your identity, it can't happen. But you need to let go of the past in some way that like really disempowered you to make you think like you were vulnerable and not safe and in need of protection. Because you are very protected right now and you're going to be able to birth this project to fruition, but you have to let go of your ego. It's really trying to stop you from doing it because you're trying to make everything perfect, and life doesn't work that way. Life isn't perfect, and if you keep fixating on all the things that you did wrong in the past, you're just going to go on keep creating things that you feel are wrong in the future, because the blueprint you are literally showing your mind's eye is imperfection, if you will, right? Like if a carpenter is trying to improve his skills, what do you think the best way to improve is? Is it by constantly looking at work that's like really shoddy and done poorly and then like mimicking that? No. You need to keep showing yourself perfect work. Keep envisioning exactly what you want to have happen. Keep showing yourself what perfection looks like. Keep showing yourself what a happy outcome looks like. Keep envisioning that. Because if you keep planning for the worst case scenario, you're just going to steer yourself towards it. Like if you're skiing and you see a tree, like don't look at the tree. Avoid the tree. Um, yeah, that's actually like skiing or snowboarding in the woods is like a really good analogy for a lot of things in life. Um, Yeah. But you've got to let go of your ego. Your ego is really pushing back here. It's because you're on the edge of a breakthrough. You're on like the brink, you're on the precipice, and your ego's really scared because this part of your ego will die when you do it. And like there's this thing called extinction gasp or something, extinction burst. And it's like when something knows it's about to die, it doesn't want to go away. And so it becomes very loud and annoying and like hazardous because it's afraid. So like your ego is actually very scared. If you think of your ego like this small child who's alone and like can't do much of anything, like your ego is like a toddler sitting in a room shouting directions from a chair that's way too big for it. Like, and your spiritual self, your higher self is the one that's like actually operating things, right? And like, so sometimes you appease your ego, but other times you have to look at your ego and be like, man, you're a toddler. What do you think you're doing? Like, how is that supposed to work? Um, you need to really let go of this like facade of control that you have because you don't have control in this situation. And I'm hearing again, you need to take the left hand path. You need to take the left hand turn. So something about that is tied into this message of leaving your ego. Maybe I think your ego resides on the right hand path, and then your spiritual identity and like less of your ego resides on the left hand path. But the left hand path will humiliate you. Whatever this left hand path is, it's something that will like mortify and embarrass you. And you have to be seen doing it. It's very uncomfortable. But the fact of the matter is that like everyone's uncomfortable all the time. Everyone's messing up, everyone's making mistakes, and everyone's way more aware of it when they're doing it to themselves. Like because they're just so conscious of their body versus other people are judging you way less harshly. Like they see you for 5 seconds or 5 minutes or an hour a day. You have to live with yourself every minute, every second, every hour of every day. So it's very different. um Even like the most diehard fan could never see you in such a way as you see yourself, you know. um they see too much of the good in you. And the fact is that you carry this like memory of everywhere you have been. And that's so hard to deal with, collective, because you see all these past versions you've been, and there is an amount of guilt apparently that you feel. Interesting. There's an amount of guilt you feel in some of these past versions that you've been that you no longer resonate with, but you know still resonate with other people. So it's really hard to let go of these identities because it's like other people are gripping them really tightly. And so you're like, how do I let go of them? I'm not even the one holding them. How you let go of them is you refuse to identify with them. When someone holds up this mirror, this picture of the past you, and it's like, oh, remember when you were this class? Stop them in their tracks. Like, just be like, yep, do you have any recent pictures of me? Hey, do you know what's actually going on in my life currently? Like, I'm actually remembering someone who used to do this to me all the time in my life. And it took me years to realize that it was a family member. Like, she was doing it because it allowed her to exert a certain amount of control over me. She would constantly remind me, oh, I remember when you were 10 years old, Cass. Oh, I remember when you were 5 years old. Oh my gosh, remember you were in middle school. Oh, I remember I visited you at nationals when you were 18. Oh, I remember, like, she would say these things. And like it subconsciously put me in this mindset of like being this vulnerable child. And it's weird. Um, she's like an older sister. She is an older sister. And so um yeah, it was really tough for me to extricate myself from that situation actually because it's very long convoluted. But like I came to realize that she could never acknowledge my changes because for her, I was always the younger sister. Like I was always like clueless or, you know, changeable, mutable, like susceptible to the influence of others. I didn't actually know what I wanted. I was too controlled by my mother. I don't really know. Like, and it's funny, she saw herself as the savior, I think. And like that put me in the position of someone needing to be rescued. And so because she played that game, because she had these roles in her mind, I was never allowed to like actually be in charge of my life because in order for her to be savior, I had to be rescuee. I had to be in danger. So she like perpetuated situations. She worsened deliberately sometimes situations that like I could have been fine from. or they weren't a big deal, and she'd make a way bigger deal out of them because by doing that, it like reinforced this narrative in her mind that like I was this younger sister in need of saving. And it was really hard to escape from that. In fact, I unfortunately like no longer really speak to that sister. And like right up until the very end, this went on for many years. Like she could never really see me for who I was. And at the time, it was really painful because I wanted her approval. I wanted her to be happy, but I wanted her to like me for me. And I wasn't willing to keep sacrificing myself for her approval. I realized I had to just take my own identity. And so that meant no longer resonating with her. And like to this day, I'm fairly confident she still has this vision of me in her mind that is like deeply personal to her. It's actually no longer who I am. I'm a representation of something that she needs in her life. I'm a representation of a role that allows her to feel more empowered in hers. Does that make sense? And we often bookmark people in our minds this way. We often have these sort of like co-tangential relationships with people, and like they fill roles in our play and we're always a star. And it's just such a disservice that we do to people that have these complex and rich narratives and backstory and life stuff, and then we reduce them to this role. Like for some reason mean manager comes through, so like okay, let's go with that. Let's say yeah, I have a mean manager. Meanwhile, honestly, your mean manager has a whole life you don't even know about. Your mean manager has trauma for sure. Like I don't know any human who hasn't had trauma. I know there are some, but I just don't know them. We probably don't vibrate at all the same frequency. They're probably off happily living their life somewhere, just enjoying it. They don't need spirituality. That's the kind of person I imagine who's not had trauma. Um, you know, and like so anyway, like mean manager, they have trauma, right? They have a marriage that's not working. They're maybe about to get axed any day because they're this is really interesting. My throat is like getting all weird as I'm talking about this. Um, like they're on the verge of losing their job or something. So they're really stressed and they're trying to make their team work harder because they're on the line, like their job's on the line. Um, they have self-worth issues. Maybe they're in therapy, maybe they had a drug addiction, alcohol addiction, right? We can actually humanize villains this way. But just because we humanize people, just because we can do it doesn't mean that we should. But it's just something to be aware of, that when we reduce people to certain roles and don't allow them to be complex and to move, we shift our perspective to also being stationary. Because if their role is stagnant, our role also can't change, right? This is why I'm saying we have to free ourselves from the roles. Spirit really wants you to free yourself from certain roles. That way it can be a flexible relationship. Sometimes you're close, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you resonate, sometimes you don't, right? But like if you're committed to someone being a certain role in your mind, they're never going to move from that role. And maybe that's fine. For me, I'm in contact with a lot of my family, and that's fine. Long journey, made my peace with that. Um, and in my mind, it's like pretty solidly that way. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to talk to them. And because of that, like I'm not going to initiate things. I'm not going to reach out or do things that would cause that to change. So it's just food for thought that if there are people in your life causing you issues, recognize that the situation is such that you have placed them in a position, or they've kind of contributed to placing themselves in this position that you no longer want to associate with, right? Um, I'm actually losing my train of thought and seeing 555 on the timer. So I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna trust that I'm not supposed to finish that thought. Let me see if there's anything else coming through. I hear Betty Crocker. Some of you are like baking. I hear like Duncan Hines. Some of you are baking. Interesting. There's this very like kitchen, hearth, homey vibe. You're doing things you haven't before. You're like taking care of yourself in this way that like your mother didn't really do for you. Whether you're man or woman, doesn't gender doesn't matter. You're filling that divine feminine role for yourself, and it's like really exciting. Excuse me. I hear you're no longer going to be someone who needs anybody. You're no longer going to be someone who needs anybody. You're only going to be someone who wants other people to be around. So you're becoming incredibly self-sufficient. You're becoming this person that is capable of like detecting lies and falsities and false narratives really quickly and really easily. And that's creating a big independent streak in you, for better or for worse. But that's going to be okay. I'm also being hit with a big wave of emotion, like a feeling of sadness, deep sadness, like wanting to cry. It's like you so desperately wanted to need people in your life. I also don't even want to do eye contact. So clearly I'm tapping into a very sensitive energy in this collective right now. Very sensitive. Um, you don't want to be connected to other people, but you want to be needed by other people, but you don't want to be connected by them. Like you, there's this push and pull. It's really difficult for you to navigate through. And like, no matter which direction you turn, no matter where you go, you can't escape this. You both desperately want people and desperately need people and desperately cannot be wanted or needed by people. Like it's this sort of feeling. It's really hard to navigate. So it's kind of like if you say I want a family, but then you're like I don't want to raise kids. But then you say you want a family, but then you say you don't want to raise kids. Does that make sense? And when it eventually culminates to is you want community, you want connection. You're just afraid to get it outside family because why else would someone stay with you? Why else would someone be around you? There's this feeling of like you have attached some ideals to situations or roles or titles, and you think if it fills that role or that title, it's going to be a good fit for you because like family never leaves, family never dies or whatever. I mean, like obviously we all die, um but the thing is that even family is impermanent. Even family changes. Like if someone changes their last name, like technically they don't match you anymore. They're totally different last name, even though your blood matches, right? Um you have to let go of the idea that you can control people to stay around you. Yeah, there's a really sensitive energy in this collective. Like you fought so hard not to control other people, so you control yourself. But deep down, you don't want people to leave you. Because the fact is when you're alone, you have too much time to think about yourself and about other people, and you want the distraction of other people. But spirit is like forcing people out of your life right now because you can't deal with that. You can't be dealing with all of these people's projections and weird false beliefs and narratives like being thrust upon you. You have to be able to shape your own reality in this moment because you're such powerful magicians and reality shapers and manifestors. Other people's energy like pollutes that and prevents you from achieving union with your highest self because you're too tied into their energies. You're too wanting to please them. Almost choked. Um, so it's almost like you're half in and half out. You're in one way and out the other way because you can't commit. Like like nearly headless Nick from Harry Potter. Like it's how can you be nearly headless? Like it's like how can you be nearly committed? Like you won't commit, but you won't let go. And this is something actually from your lineage. Like this is a really sad energy. There's this feeling of pride in your lineage, like people that just fought and held on for way too long. Like it's this energy being like, yeah, we've been married for 30 years. Oh man, we're married 40 years, 60 years, 80 years. Like, I don't know, a crazy long time, right? And then it's like, for what? Because you weren't happy doing it. Like, but there's a prideful part of you that gets to say a title. We were married for this long. We were together for this long. And it's tying back also to the message of you have to let go of things when you've spilled too much into them and it's not paying off, right? If you're with someone for 7 years and there's no ring and you want marriage, that's not the person for you. They would have done it. No one waits that long if they actually want to get married. Truly, truly. A few years, I could see. You don't need money to get married. You don't. People get married all the time with no money. I'm divorced. Back when I got married, I paid $100. I paid $100 to a justice of the peace, um, to marry us. You don't need money. You can save money too. When you live together and you're married, you save money. You get more money back on your taxes. You can buy for two instead of one, so you get deals. So instead of costing you each like I don't know, 500 a month or 600 a month for groceries, now it's maybe like 400 a month, right? For both or something like I don't know. Yeah, you can do so much more. Um, there's a lot of perks to being married. I don't know why being married is coming up so much. There must be someone in here who's like on the cusp of getting married or like deeply wants that, deeply wants a committed union and partnership. Um, and it's specifically with love. It's not with work, it's with love. And yeah, the fact is, collective, when people want to do something, they do it. It doesn't matter who says no. Who cares? They're going to do it. Think back to when you were like 15 or 16. If you had a rebellious phase, did it matter if someone was like, no, you can't go in here. No, you can't wear that. You just found more creative ways to do it, right? Now imagine love. If you love someone, if you really love someone and this person tells you, oh, my birthday's coming up, but I don't need anything. Don't worry about getting me something. It's okay. And like, they're kind of like doing that whole be nice thing about it. Like, you don't have to get me anything, but like, you want to get them something. And you're like, I could spend $5 on a card. Like, hell, I'm not that poor. Like, I could make you something. I could live, art is free, pencil and paper free. I could cook you a meal. Like, there's so much you can do um, that doesn't even involve straight up money. So, where there's a will, there's a way, collective. And it's really sad and hard to admit sometimes when something in our life has come to an end, when something in our life has like come to a close. It's weird. I see like I'm almost like I'm seeing this sort of like shirt is like folded and there's this shape of this like man with a long face, kind of close set eyes. It's really interesting. Um but yeah, you have to let go. Whatever this is, there's something you have to let go. And the reason that you're still here listening to this is because oh my god, I'm getting terrible heart pain. Oh my god. Um like something within you really knows it's time to let go. And it hurts so bad because you like committed so long to doing this. Like for so long you've put all this effort in. Like weeks and weeks you've mulled over this decision. You keep going back and forth. This is interesting. This is going back to that back and forth thing. And like you just keep running in the circle, collective. It's like oblong shape. And even though you keep running, you're not any closer to like where you started or where you're going to end up. Like you're just in hell. You're frankly in limbo. Yeah. There's this weird coin flip toss energy thing happening here. It's like very I don't know. Maybe that's helpful for someone. But yeah, I guess it's probably going back to that whole path thing. There's a left-hand path and a right-hand path. You need to be going on the left-hand path. You need to be going where people said you shouldn't go before. You need to not care what they think. You need to do what's right for you. Because collective, like spirit's saying, I'm tired of you prioritizing everyone else but you. Because spirit prioritizes you. Spirit like really cares about you and wants you to succeed, wants you to be happy, wants you to find that happiness and do what is valuable in your life, bring meaning to it. And the problem is collective. You can't bring meaning to your life if you're so focused on bringing meaning to others. And you do them a disservice by trying to live their life for them because maybe they don't actually want to live it the way you think they should live it. And that's like a tough truth. But sometimes we think we're being kind to other people and we're being helpful. And actually, they feel controlled by us. It's crazy because, like, we don't mean to be controlling. That's not our intention. But people can take it that way. And then we become a villain in their story. And it feels unfair because we're like, I'm just trying to help. And so you can kind of see how, like, the titles don't matter. The titles really don't matter. You can be a victim or a villain, and you can have done the same action. Someone can do something to you, and you respond totally different ways than this other person. It didn't matter. The action, like, it all comes back to you. You actually make the difference. It doesn't matter what people think. It doesn't matter what labels, right? Yeah. So I feel you're on this heavy journey of deconstruction, and you're coming back to a place within yourself where you're like, you're finally living with yourself again, I hear. Something's changed in your living space. It's almost like I hear cart. I wonder if it's like Amazon cart. Like you used to live one way in your space and now you're using it differently. Now you live in it differently. And there is something, excuse me, and there's something in your soul that's really harsh to yourself about this because it thinks you shouldn't be living that way. And you have to start questioning, collective, why is your soul being so loud about this? Excuse me. I'm having like a really hard time even channeling this energy. I feel like you should take a salt bath or a shower or something after this. Um, I hear, what's the purpose of life if I don't have control? What's the meaning of everything if I don't control any of it? What does it matter what I do if I never have control? It's almost like if you're just like, there's this feeling of being a puppet for the universe. Like you're so disillusioned. We're getting into the fabrication side of your magic that like sabotages you sometimes. It's like, okay, if the universe is really orchestrating everything, if my higher self's calling the shots, I don't get to call the shots. What the F does it matter what I do? Clearly I don't get to choose anything I do anyway. So why does it matter? Why should I care? Right? It's very rambunctious is the word. and like giving up. It's kind of like exacerbated, frustrated. But collective, you need to remember like this is much bigger than you, and like you can get all nihilistic about it, and that can be a valid form of reality. But is it the form of reality you want to exist in? Is it the form of reality that is serving your highest good? Is it the form of reality that's actually helping you accomplish your dreams? Because here's the thing, collective. You can convince yourself 1,000 different things are true, and all of them can be false. But in your reality, they will all be true. And you will subconsciously ensure that every single one of them is true. But here's the kicker: the second that you wake up and decide, I only want the truth that matters to the highest version of myself for my highest good, it dissolves the illusion of all those other truths. It makes them all go away. It makes them disappear. Because just because you're able to look at a 12-sided die and understand that there's 12 sides to it doesn't mean that there's inherently more value in knowing exactly where all the other numbers are placed on that die when you only care about like what's on the surface, right? Sometimes you need to take life for what's on the surface, collective. You need to just look at like if it's an 8 that comes up, you need to accept that as an 8. And you need to stop thinking, well, it's a 12-sided die, so because it's 8 here, it means there's a 4 on the other side of it, and that means to the left of it that it's a 7. And it's like you sometimes really overcomplicate things and really overthink them to the point where you get confused in your own head, and then you lose track of what you're doing. You lose sight because it's like, yeah, that's true that it's a 7, but it's on the left, but like it's not relevant because suddenly instead of just taking the value of 8 and moving on with it, you've calculated like whatever, it's 12 times 6, like 72 different ways that you can like look at this die or something like that, right? You think of all these individual sides and the sides together, and like you're counting up the numbers, and it's like 8, 8, stop, 8, 8. That's all you need. 8. 8 is true. The other truths are valid. They're not your truth in this moment. Your truth is 8. um, just like your truth is left-hand path. It's what you're being told. Take the left, not the right. It will feel wrong taking the left, but it is the correct choice for you, for your highest good, that is. The right would be the correct choice if you wanted to stay lost and confused and frustrated. That would be the correct choice. See how that's a truth? But it's useless. It's a useless truth. This is such an interesting energy collective. I really like the purple collective. It's so fucking confusing. And I resonate a lot with it. Yeah, it's very magical. It's very interesting. So I feel there's not a lot of people that capture this side of you. I feel a lot of people don't quite channel into the complexity of this. And that for those of you who listen to the full messages and who are here for the complexities, it's immensely valuable for you because it really provides clarity. It really like showcases simply like this is why that's stupid or this is why that's good. Like it's helpful for you. I'd really try and bring in concrete grounded advice, instead of just saying like a big change is coming, but don't worry, it'll be fine. I try and get more than that because I feel like just vague optimism isn't really enough for at least the people in the collective I read for. Like we're kind of sick of that BS. Like 6 of Cups, or sorry, 6 of Wands. Hooray! Why? Yeah. Okay. I am going to wrap up the session there. I think that is a good ending point. And if there is anything else I need to channel for this collective, I'm sure will come up later. Please let me know in the comments below if you like seeing my face, seeing my voice, and my movements as I channel, or if you prefer the covers that just have like the color on it. Um, I'm really, I myself am kind of going back and forth on how I want the covers of this to look. Like I really like the aesthetic of when it's a color on the front, but I think it's really intimidating. Someone told me recently it's really intimidating to like try and get into this, into my channelings, because there's like so much backstory. Like there's so much lore to these collectives. They're like, I don't know what collective I am, so I didn't really want to click on any of them. I was like, that's really valid. Thank you for letting me know. So maybe I will just like make notes in the note section of the channeling and just be like notes, like, and that way anyone can click on this message and get value. And then the people who are specifically interested in knowing more and who understand like the collective theory, if you will, of how the color of life, or sorry, the circle of life at Channel 4 works, how it's like these different overlapping collectives that are represented by colors. The people who want to get really niche can get really niche, and the people who just need advice to like go about their day, help them on their journey, they get exactly what they need. So yeah, please let me know what you think down below. I would love your feedback, or you can just drop an emoji. Drop like a rainbow or a heart if you got to the end of this message. I would love to see that in the chat. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye.